Hello everyone, my name is Danielle Culp and I am an Education and Program Specialist at the Gilcrease Museum, and we are going to be sharing with you how to make your very own pair of Cherokee pucker toe moccasins. Now if you don't have leather at home, we would love to see you guys get creative and find different materials you guys can use. You might try it with an old t-shirt, maybe an old fleece blanket, or any other kind of thick material that you have at home. Now, if you do want to order leather, you can order it from crazycrow.com. I buy the German tan leather and it's natural. When you buy the leather, you are going to be buying a whole hide, which is definitely going to make more than one pairs of moccasins. So this is a great thing to do as a family or maybe a group of friends. Maybe you could make a pair and then send them the leather for them to make. But you can definitely get about 4 to 5 pairs out of one hide. So we are going to be showing you how to make your own pattern that's going to fit your foot perfectly. And the materials that you're going to need are pretty simple. You're going to need leather or a thick material like it. You're going to need scissors. Now I use one pair of scissors to cut things like cardboard because I don't have to worry about it dulling the blades. And then I have a special pair of scissors that I only use on leather to make sure that the blades stay really sharp. I do have a Sharpie for when I'm tracing my foot to make my pattern. I also have just a regular pencil because when we're drawing on this leather, we don't want to do it with Sharpie because Sharpie won't come off, but a pencil will. You're also going to need some string to do the measurement. And then the one thing you'll need that is really important is to sew up the moccasin is an awl. Kind of looks like a tiny ice pick. It's really pointy, you gotta be careful. And this is how we make holes in the leather and we stretch it out to sew. And that's all you need. And once you make the pattern, you can use that pattern over and over again. So we at the Gilcrease Museum look forward to going on this adventure with you and making your very own pair of Cherokee pucker toe moccasins. You can go on our online collections, learn more about moccasins that we have in our collection. You'll find some southeastern moccasins that are going to look like the moccasins we're making today, and then you'll see other varieties from other tribes all across the U.S. So for our very first step, we need to make the pattern. What I've done is I've taken a cardboard box and I've just cut down the side. I need a piece that's big enough for my foot to fit on with a couple inches around the top of my foot and the back of my foot. So we do want to have bare feet for this because the moccasins are going to fit more like socks than they're going to fit like shoes. You can trace your foot with socks on, but I just like to do it with my bare feet. To trace our foot, we're just going to use a Sharpie. And what we're going to do is we're going to place a mark about 1 inch down from the bottom, and that is where the back of our heel is going to go. So you can see my heel goes on that black mark right there, and it's going to be centered. Now this part is easier if you have a friend because you do want to be standing when you do this. So when you stand, your foot is going to flatten out. It doesn't matter which foot you trace. We're going to use the same pattern for both feet. So you want to be standing on your foot and you want a friend to trace all the way around your foot. So we have our foot traced, and as you can see, my ankle wasn't quite far enough back, but that's okay because we can always trim that later. But the next step that we're going to do is we're going to take our Sharpie and we are going to make a mark at about 1 inch to 1.5 inches above the tallest tip in our toe. We are going to take a piece of yarn, and I just cut this. It's probably about 18 inches long. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure from the mark we just made all the way down to the bottom of the cardboard, just like that. We're going to hold this and we're going to fold our string in half So now we have a loop. We're going to take our Sharpie, we're going to put it in that loop, and we're going to use this as a tool to help us draw a circle. So we want to put the tip of our Sharpie at that mark we made up here, and then we are going to just put our string right down. It's probably towards the middle. And we're just going to drag this around, and this is going to help us make a circle. So now that we have our circle, we're going to measure the width of our foot. So the tallest part of your foot, as you can see, is right here. It's right where your foot meets your ankle. So you're going to take the same piece of string, you're going to wrap it around, and we're going to take that measurement, we're going to hold it, and we're going to put it at the widest place. Now you guys can see there's a little room on each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in where that was. I'm going to draw a straight line up and then round it to meet that. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Straight line up and then round it to meet. And the next thing we need to do is we need to make the flaps. Now, I've been making moccasins for a long time, and so I really eyeball this process. But if you want to make sure your lines are perfect and straight, you can also use a ruler. So I'm gonna go to the middle of my foot, and then I'm gonna go straight over, and I'm gonna make a mark. And I'm gonna go straight over to the other side as well. And from this mark right here, we're gonna go out about 2.5 inches, and then we're gonna draw a line all the way down to the edge of our cardboard. And then we're gonna do that on the other side as well. I always like to make my flaps a little wider, because if they're too wide, we can always cut it down, but we can't add more on. Now the next step of the process, we're gonna speed up, but what you're gonna do is take a pair of scissors and you're gonna cut out this pattern. Now the scissors that I use, they're just normal scissors, but when we get to cutting the leather, I'm actually gonna use a different pair. These scissors, because they're cutting cardboard, are gonna be a little bit more dull, and when we're cutting our leather, we want those to be really sharp. So let's cut this out. Now this is going to be the pattern that we use for both of our feet. And I'm going to go ahead before we start the next step and trim off a little bit of the edge, because I do just want about 1 inch in the back. So it's important to get your heel on this line. Make sure it's centered in the cardboard. Make sure that you check the width of your foot so your moccasins aren't too small. Now when you did that measurement, if you needed more room, instead of coming in like we did, you might just go out a little further and give yourself the room that you need. This pattern is going to be used both for our left and our right foot. And so now we are ready to move on to the next step, where we transfer this onto the leather and we cut out the leather pieces for our moccasins.